This book is just so fascinating to really understand what people are thinking and what they're doing based upon just what they do with their bodies, etc. Before we get into that, how did you get involved in this?
Oh my goodness, I think it was since childhood actually. My mother and dad were profoundly deaf, and so I realized that they were doing something extraordinary in just slight movement with their hands, face, and body. And I saw it as magical. I saw it as extraordinary and interesting. And as a kid, you see it used, and you can use it in a variety of ways. It's a very curious area that's developed in the last 10 years, and it's in Manhattan where I live. There are several places that are doing this. Hearing women with hearing children, teaching them sign language before they can speak. And what I've seen in 2 studies which I accept, when that child grows up and begins to speak, he or she is something like 10 to 11, 12 points ahead in IQ. Really? To the person the child who has never been exposed, because they've been able to express themselves. One of the major studies, which is extraordinary, is that less than 10% of what we're doing right now is being expressed verbally. The rest is non-verbally, in tone of voice, position, et cetera, et cetera. This is a gigantic idea. It's right up there with fire and the wheel and television and computers, because this is the way we do communicate. And in the last 50 years, actually, Jerry Nierenberg and Henry Calero were pioneers in this area. There was no expression really called body language until the early 60s. And so when I was asked by the founder of the company, Rudy Scher, to collaborate with them in my particular interest, we were able to rewrite the book and add and update lots of information that was not in the original text.
What would make one person better equipped than another to be able to be good at that art?
Well, it's an acquired skill. It is something that if you understand the value to your life, if you understand the meaning of what it can be, it is more than just entertaining. It is something which cuts to the matter. The classic move, of course, of just putting your hands, your arms together is such that, yes, it could be the person is turned off or rejecting, but also it could be that she's cold. It's cold in here, it's chilly. So you can misinterpret it. So it takes an exposure over a period of time, but once you tune into it, you see things that other people don't see. And it's a totally visual language in that sense.
What is the most significant part of our body that we use to communicate, obviously besides the mouth, but we're talking about nonverbal? Is it the head? What part is it? The hands?
It's very interesting. Yes, the hands, face, and body are involved in this process. However, the expression in sign language, the face, is the most important part. To be able to see a single idea and then over a period of time, that's how you get to perceive the world. And that perception can help you understand clearly what a person's thoughts, feelings, attitudes, or if he or she is lying, for example. And we can talk our way out of anything. I've done over 3,000 cases in the criminal justice system, and often I've seen a lawyer who can connect with the jury much better than another win the case, when in fact that's not really what happened.
My viewer right now is getting ready because tomorrow he is going to be getting involved in a job interview. What can you tell my viewer about projecting a positive attitude to the interviewer?
I think there are a number of subtle things, and as you mentioned in the introduction, the person who is on the other side of the desk is looking at you as you are looking at that person.
Right.
In our job market today, which is very difficult in different areas, it is a question of projecting that you can do this job, you want this job, but it is not an over-gushing, enthusiastic thing, or in fact, perhaps assuming because you have the credentials to do some movements which show arrogance sometimes.
And that shows arrogance.
The steepling.
The steepling.
Yeah. That you see this often happening where you feel perhaps you're overly qualified for the job. But you don't want to show that desperation. You want to show a relaxation and a human communication. And you can pick these cues up if it's working or not with eye contact, with where you're sitting, if you're leaning forward or you're leaning backward in the chair. Again, it's a conglomerate. When I expanded the original book to this, which has a greater audience than just simply people interested in deafness,
right.
I saw that there was a connection, and even though I've been around this my whole life, it startled me. Be aware that, once again, the blah, blah, blah factor that we're all tuned into is less than 10% of the total communication process. And once you tune into that, you become more sensitized and tuned in to that bigger picture that's happening with other people and how they are also viewing you, what you're sending off. You may not be sending off what you think you are. And so I think the book itself, when we break it down in different chapters, shows you how to be more sensitive to nonverbal communication.